Bright Tuty. Every student matters.
Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss about the last chapter of the first book of History Class 12, which is named as A History of Buddhism, Sanchi Stupa. There are 4 chapters in the first book and this is the last chapter of that. So before to reach about this new religion and about the importance of Sanchi Stupa, going a little back about the concept of the religion, how it has started. Before Buddhism also, how many religions were there which were followed by the Indians, or we can say that during the civilization period also, it was been followed by the people of our country. Earlier, already in the first chapter, we have discussed about this Indus Valley civilization, which was actually flourished near about the 5000 years, and the region which were involved and this civilization was spread was Punjab and Sindh, some parts of India and some parts of Pakistan present day, and this is also known as the Harappan civilization or Harappan culture. This civilization is basically now it is spread in Sahiwal district, which was one of the first sites discovered by the archaeologist with the help of the seals, figurines and the stone images found in the ruins of the cities, which gives a glimpse of their religious beliefs and practices. With the findings, the archaeologists which they have after the excavation they have collected, and on that basis they have started believing that the people they were having a faith and trust and their belief in the gods and the goddesses. So this way they have this archaeologists they have developed a concept about a religion, and they have also explained that it's a very complex to explain that which type of the gods and goddesses were worshipped. But they have found this statue of mother goddess, a male god. Male god probably it was considered as Shiva, trees and the animals. People tree is also there, which was been praised by this people, and as well as this animal like bull, which is also considered as Nandi bull in Hindu religion. So what is actually about this? The practice of worship of mother goddess Shiva, Pasupati, then trees, animals, rivers, etc. were ultimately adopted by the Hindus even nowadays also. Some of these are also found in Buddhism and Jainism, like people tree is also very auspicious for the Buddhist followers of the Buddhism and for the Buddhist people. Then it comes about that the major religious developments in early India, which were based on the sacrifices and debates. This is about the Vedic Aryans. After this, the decline of the Harappan civilization, Aryans who they visited to our country, they entered in our country from the northwestern side. These Aryans were worshippers of nature. What they were worshipping? They were worshipping nature. Nature, and they also worship its forces and agents. Like, what were the forces and agents? Nature means that the forces and agents were the sun, the sky, the earth, the wind, the moon, etc. were all worshipped as God. In this form, the Aryans, they were worshipping God. Then it comes about that Varun is considered as the god of the sky, was considered the chief gods by the early Aryans. Early Aryans and the later Aryans, these two were also the concept. So the early Aryans, they were just believing in the Varun, god Varun means that the god of sky. Then after it comes about that India also occupies a prominent place among the Vedic gods, which is explained in the Rig Veda, held that Indra was a warrior god. Here, Indra is considered as the warrior god. He helps the worshippers in their battle against their rule. He fought against the atmospheric demons called Virtra. And this Virtra have this what happened to this god who was supposed to have stolen rainwater. And the sun god was worshipped in the various forms such as Surya, Savitri, Pushan, Savita, etc. These are the different names given by the Aryans for in the praise of God Sun. After that, Usha, the lovely goddess of dawn, dawn and dusk. These are the two terms. Dawn is the early morning, which is considered as Usha, the first light of the sun. Then that considered to be the consort of the sun god was also worshipped. This Usha was also worshipped. So now coming to the chapter, this is actually the chapter is based on this Buddhism. In this, not only we are going to focus on Buddhism, but we have to study little bit about the Vedas, their sacrifices and the debates. Before this, the religion of Buddhism and Jainism, how the other religions were practiced by the Hindus or by the people of this land. So this is the image of Lord Buddha. This is about the Sanchi Stupa, which is given in the name as a chapter, which is Sanchi Stupa, and these are the images of Lord Buddha. This now we are coming to discuss about that thinkers, beliefs and buildings. The political thinkers, this is about that, the religious thinkers, this is about the belief of the people, faith, and the buildings, the structure, the architectural buildings, and their impact on the human life. So this chapter discusses the major religious developments in early India with special focus on the Buddhism. Then it also examines how these religious ideas were compiled as texts and reflected in architecture and sculptures. Both the way. Means that in the buildings and the sculptures. From where we are getting these sources, from where the chapter has been collected and focused on these topics were from the Buddhist text, Jain text and the Brahmanical texts. All the three texts were considered, they were read properly, and then this chapter has been collected all the ideas about the important religions of our country. Material remains including monuments and inscriptions. From the material also which is remain in the monuments, in the buildings, as well as the description which is written on the pillars, written on the walls of the temples and the buildings. From there, these sources has been collected by the historians, by the archaeologists. Mid-first millennium, turning point in the world history, not only in our country, but everywhere in the world. It was during this period that thinkers such as Zarathustra, who was he? Zarathustra in Iran and Kongzi in China, Socrates, Plato, Aristotle in Greece, and then Mahavira and Gautam Buddha in India emerged. All they were contemporary. And this period is considered as a turning point in the world history. These religious thinkers, they try to understand the mysteries of existence and relationship between the humans and cosmic order. How the humans, we people, we are miscontrolled, and our relation with that, the environment, with that, the cosmic order. In India, this was also the time when cities and kingdoms were developing and social and economic life was changing. A variety of ways in Ganga Valley. In the chapter 2 already it is given with the concept of the Janpadas and the Mahajanpadas when the iron was discovered. So this is a lots of changes took place in our country also, especially in Ganga Valley. Means that right from the Uttarakhand, what we have the state of Uttarakhand till the West Bengal. The entire this territory, entire this region and their development which has been changed the lifestyle of the people in a society, social lifestyle as well as the economic lifestyle has been changed. These thinkers of India attempted to understand these developments as well. This is now about the Rig Veda. Now coming to understand, this is the one of the oldest Veda of our country, which has been written in C means approx and 1000 BC before Common Era. This is approx. What it is? And this is known as, this BCE means before Common Era. And what it says about that Rig Veda? It consists of hymns in praise of variety of deities. Variety of deities means the different types of the gods and goddesses, especially Agni, Indra and Soma. These are the three gods and the goddess which has been given special reference in the hymns, in the poems of Rig Veda, which has been mentioned in Rig Veda. These hymns were chanted when the sacrifices were performed and people prayed for cattle. This is for the cattle, for sons, good health, long life and other things. This was the concept. The hymns were chanted by the people when the sacrifices were performed. Means animal sacrifice was one of the rituals of these days. That's why this topic is also mentioned over here, the sacrificial traditions. And why the sacrifices were performed by the people? In the prayed for cattle, number of cattle to be increased. They can get the sons, the birth of the child means or they are just asking the God, praying the God to bless them with the male baby. Other than that, the good health was also, long life and the other things. So this was the main thing of that, the hymns which has been written in Rig Veda and it was chanted during the sacrifice. This is the sacrifices earlier were performed collectively. Individual sacrifice was not been considered. Later, approx 1000 BCE to 500 BCE onwards, some were performed by the heads of households for well-being of the domestic unit. If suppose it is related to any of the particular family, then how the sacrifice was done? It was done collectively by the head of the family. Then more elaborate sacrifices such as the Rajasuya and Aswamedha Yagya. These were the yags performed by chiefs and the kings. The head of the territory or by the kings depended on Brahman priests to conduct the rituals. It depends upon that the guidance of the Brahmins. Whom these Brahmins, they are asking for the performance of this sacrifice. About this Rajasuya and the Aswamedha Yag. With this, the proper decision taken by the Brahmins, and by these, the chiefs and the kings, they considered the Brahmins as the highly learned people, and they also believe that they have a direct contact with this, the God. They have means that these Brahmins, they have declared actually themselves, they have a contact with the God. So this decision was given by the kings, by the chiefs to the Brahmins, and the final decision of this sacrifice were taken by the Brahmins. This is now about that. Many people were curious, new questions in the early period. What were the new questions? What were the curiosity of the people? Many people were curious about the meaning of life. the possibilities of life after death and the rebirth. These issues were hotly debated in the society. People outside the Vedic traditions asked whether there was even a single ultimate reality. People has begun speculating. Means they have started thinking about that speculation spaces on the significance of the sacrificial traditions. Now, this is a big question about that because there's the Brahmins, what they were insisting the people to get salvation or moksha, they have to perform sacrifices. So, this is a great question. And with the very curiosity, the people they have started asking this. What is the meaning of life? Is there any possibility after the death? Is there any concept of the rebirth? And these such things were now debated in the society by the people. Outside the Vedic traditions, even a single ultimate reality is there or not, that existence has also been questioned by the people. But the people also began speculation on the significance of the sacrificial traditions, whether it is good or not, and why we are performing these sacrifices. This was also a question put up by the people. This is about this. There were the Agni and the important deity. Soma was regarded. Agni was the very important deity. Then the Soma was regarded as essential for sacrifices. Saraswati was the river goddess who came to be regarded as the goddess of learning. Not right now, but earlier also the people, the Saraswati, goddess Saraswati is regarded as the goddess of learning. Besides that, the early Aryans worshipped Vayu, the wind god, Rudra, the god of storms and lightning, Prithvi, the mother earth, and the Prasarna, the god of rain. So these were all the things which were the early people, when they were not having a clear concept about that, the life after death, where rebirth, about the concept of the rebirth, all such things were praised by the people. Then there is the, what they have started thinking about that, the ultimate reality. What is this? This is, are hymns in the Rig Veda that the Aryans had believed in the supreme God. And they worship the agents and the forces of nature. In fact, they worshipped various manifestations as a supreme being. They knew that the God was one, but appeared in various manifestations in a different forms, in incarnation of the gods. So they were chanting hymns already with this. While they were performing yag or yajna, you can say that, because it's the Hindi Sanskrit term yag. In English, it is written like that, yajna. So for the sons, for their cattle, for the good health, all such things they have started praising, and they were started doing the sacrifice, performing the sacrifice with the help of the Brahmins. Then it comes about that this was the concept of the early Vedic period. Now, religion in the later Vedic period, what it says, this is about that the later Vedic period, the great changes were witnessed in religious life and of the people. This is about the simplicity, and it became more complex. Emergence of new God. As per the Rig Veda, during the Rig Veda period, Varuna and Surya were worshipped, but they lost their former importance in the later Vedic period. Many new gods like Rudra, Vishnu, and Brahma attained a higher position. Now, in this, the outside, not in the outside, but in the later Vedic traditions, Now the three different gods were taking place. They have been replaced. In early Vedic period, this sun god was having the prominent position. Now it has been replaced with this. The Surya were worshipped, but they lost their former importance and they were replaced with Rudra, Vishnu, and Brahman. Brahman. And this Rudra was also considered as the great god and was also called the Shiva or Pashupati. Rudra god was not only in later Vedic period, but it has been replaced with that the importance of the sun god. And Rudra god is also considered as a Lord Shiva or Pashupati. Lord Shiva was also known as, and he was famous in the Rig Vedic period, in the later Vedic period, as Pashupati. And side by side, Rudra arose Vishnu, who soon came to occupy a place of honor as the protector and preserver of the people. This way, the importance was given. Not only that the name has been suggested by the people, but they have also given the importance why they are selecting. So the Lord Vishnu, when it has been replaced by the later Vedic people, they have also given the significance and the importance about these gods, and here this Vishnu has been kept as a savior, as a protector, as a preserver of the people. Then after it comes about that, the dominance of the priestly class. How the priestly class, their dominance of priestly class. During the later Vedic period, religious rites and ceremonies became more elaborated and complicated and expensive as well. The sacrifice, and there were debates on that. Naturally, it increased the importance of priestly class of Brahmins. Now the Brahmins, they have got the very prominent and the important position in the society. Because of that, the sacrifices which could be performed only by 16 or 17 Brahmins and lasted for months. Because these Brahmins were only the knowledge of Vedas. So for this chanting, 16, 17 Brahmins were required, and this sacrifice and any of that, the performance, sacrifices and the performance which took place for more than a month. The officiating priests were generously rewarded and given dakshina or gift. The kings and the chiefs who they were trying to organize this sacrifices, they were giving dakshina or gift to the Brahmins for this organization. Then it comes about that the Vedic literature, what it says about this. The Rig Veda is certainly the oldest and the most important part of the Vedic literature. Rig Veda is the oldest one. What we are saying this is about the Rig Veda. This Ved is the oldest in all the Vedas. And what it says about that? It also contains Gayatri Mantra, which is recited by millions of Hindus every day, even today also. Samveda, the chants, Samveda, where the second is after this Rig Veda, the second one is Samveda. This consists the verses taken from the Rig Veda. Then third one is about the Yajur Veda. And the last ones, Yajur Veda, is generally called the book of sacrificial prayers. What about how to perform sacrifices? All the mantras and the chanting is given in Yajur Veda. Then it lays down the principles and practices of yagya, and some magical formulas and charms. Then it comes about that the fourth one is the Atharva Veda. Name of the fourth is the Atharva Veda. What is written in the Atharva Veda? It contains hymns dealing mostly with the spatial customs, manners, magic and witchcraft. So this way, this is the Atharva Veda. Magic and witchcraft is also mentioned over there. It also throws light on the development of Aryan civilization and culture. Other than this, the religion and the sacrifices and how to conduct or to start this, practice the customs, the manners, how it has been practiced in the society. Not only that, but they also tell us about that. This Atharva Veda actually, it tells about that the Aryan civilization and the culture followed by the Aryans. Another important thing which comes about the Brahmins are the explanations of the meaning and the substances of the Vedic hymns. They are written in learned priests to explain the Vedic text in simple prose. Now, this is the duty of the Brahmins. Whatever the hymns are written in a very complex form in Vedas. So it is the duty of the Brahmins to explain those hymns in a form of a prose. Prose means in a form of a story. So this Aryanaka are the concluding position of the Brahmins, and they deal with philosophy and stress the path of knowledge. So this is the duty that must be performed by the Brahmins. Then the sutras. Sutras means the Dharma Shastras and the Dharma Sutras that represent the last phase of the Vedic literature. This which is known as the Shastras. Shastras are considered as the last phase of Vedic literature. So what it says about that? This last phase, they were written in very compressed style. They deal with the Vedic rituals and customary laws. Sutras, Dharma Sutras and Dharma Shastras, they describe the rituals of greater sacrifices. This is the Grihasya Sutra, describes the ceremonies connected with the domestic life from birth to death. This is very important, which is mentioned in this the sutras. This is the Grihasya Sutra. What it is known as? Grihasya Sutras. And in this Grihasya Sutra, what it says, this is the entire thing. How the life from the birth, the ceremonies related to birth and death is mentioned in this Grihasya Sutra. This is the importance of Grihasya Sutra, and everything is how the rituals to be performed. How the ceremonies means what? The rituals. At the time of the birth, when the child is born and when the person dies. All how the rituals to be performed as a ceremony celebrated on the birth and as a death. So everything is mentioned in that Grihasya Sutra, and this is also the Dharma Sutras are the earliest work on law, both religious and secular. Grihasya Sutra, it deals with that the rituals of birth and death. Dharma Sutras, it deals with that both the work on laws as well as the religious and the secular things are mentioned in the Dharma Sutras. Then it comes about that the philosophy of Upanishad. Not only this is about the now coming to discuss about Upanishad. This is the Upanishads, the philosophical literature of Hindu, are concluding parts of the Brahmans, and therefore they are collectively called the Upanishads. This is the Vedantas. Upanishads are also called the Vedantas. Ved ka ant. These are the Sanskrit word. Vedanta. The end part of the Vedas. The last part of the Vedas. They contain deep philosophical ideas regarding Prakriti, the matter. Then the soul, Atma, God, Brahma or Brahman. They tell what is the truth of the ultimate reality. Then a knowledge which is necessary to enable a person to attain moksha or salvation. This is now based on the philosophical idea of moksha, means salvation. Salvation means what? Free from the cycle of birth and rebirth. This is known as the salvation, mukti, moksha. Means once, suppose that if I want to try to go for a salvation, this means I want to free from the human life. Not only that, the human life means that I don't want to reborn in any form, whether it is human or animal. That is known as moksha or salvation. So this is all about that. This is the philosophy of Vedanta. Then it is the 6 schools of Hindu philosophy. First is Bhagavad Gita. Second is Puranas, which is also known as the Purans. Then ashram system. Ashram system is very important. Bhagavad Gita already in the 3rd chapter, where we have kinship and all such things, we have the story of Mahabharata discussed about that. There is special reference on Gita. So Bhagavad Gita is there. We are coming to discuss about the 6 schools of Hindu philosophy. So what are these 6 schools of philosophy? The beginning of the investigation of the subtle problems of the Punarjanma, Karma and Moksha. What this Bhagavad Gita says about that? How to get rid from these problems like Punarjan, Karma and Moksha, which was made by authors of the Upanishads. But a systematic and more logical examination of them is made in the works known as the 6th system of philosophy, or the this is the Shat Dharma. They are the Sankhya school of Kapila. These are the 6 schools. Sankhya school of Kapila, the yoga system of Patanjali. What we have Baba Ramdev as a Patanjali. So this is the yoga. The word yoga is started, the concept of yoga, the exercise is started by Patanjali. Patanjali is a name of a person who is the founder of yoga. Third one is given that Nyaya school of Gautam. Fourth is the Vaisheshik system of Kannada. Then the Purva Mimamsa of Gemini and the Uttar Mimamsa of Vyas. These all are the name of the sages. These sages, these Rishi Munis, they have developed this concept of that the 6 schools of Hindu philosophy. A very logical manner. When the question arose about this moksha and the salvation, then this concept was developed by these sages. In this, the first one is, it comes about Bhagavad Gita. The Hindus believe that it contains very words of Lord Sri Krishna. Already we also know about that. The Gita is what? The sayings of Lord Krishna during the battle of Mahabharata, and this was the sermon given by Lord Krishna to Arjuna. So what it says that a divine incarnation of Lord Vishnu, Krishna is the incarnation of Lord Vishnu to his disciple and friend, the Pandava hero Arjuna. And he teaches the doctrine of Nishkarma, Nishkam Karma, work done without seeking any of the reward. Karmanye vadika raste ma phalesu kadachana. This is the Sanskrit word of this, which is the Gita starts with this. Means do your work, do the karma. Nishkam karma means that the result. Do not wait for the result. And bhakti, loving with the faith in a God of grace. Man must do this his duty in a selfless way without any desire for reward. In a simple form, karmaniye vadika raste ma phalesu kadachana. Next, it is about the Purans. This is the importance of Bhagavad Gita in Hindu philosophy. Next is Purans. Purans are a storehouse of Indian philosophy of Aryan history. They are 18 in numbers. So, Puranas are 18 in numbers. They deal with exploits of the gods and the heroic princes. Puranas give the names of several kings of different dynasties in succession. But the main purpose of Puranas was to propagate religion and morals, to create the fear of God in the minds of people. So, what is the main purpose and the theme of these Puranas? To create the fear of God in the minds of the people. This is the main theme of Puranas. The exact date of the Purana cannot be fixed, but they are valuable source of information and for the study of ancient Indian history. So this is the very valuable information we can collect from the Puranas by reading the Puranas, which they are 18 in numbers. Then the ashram system. Ashram system is the Grihastha Sutra and Dharma Sutras. They have laid down a series of acts for an average man and woman who they are expected to perform the whole span of his or her life. This is the rule book for the common man and woman, which is known as ashram system. A man's life, for instance, was divided into 4 ashram periods, each of 25 years plan. Means out of 100 years, the lifespan is considered as 100 years. And then it has been divided with the 25 years of one span. So the first period is considered as Brahmacharya. So what it is that? The Brahmacharya is the first. Second is about that. The during this after the second is Grihastha Ashram. Then third is about that. We are coming to discuss on this. The first period, Brahmacharya, up to 25 years of age, to be spent as Brahmachari. Means to gain the knowledge. And they have, during this period, man was to undergo a religious discipline, learning various arts and crafts according to his taste and the requirements. According to these requirements in the first 25 years, according to their taste, the man can learn all these the facts of life as per his or his interests. So, and the second period is known as the Grihastha Ashram. This is the Grihastha Ashram. Second period is known as Grihastha Ashram. A man was to live householder's life, means to marry and to look after his family. Then the third, it comes about that the Vanprastha ashram. Third is Vanprastha. Means that the third, the person has to leave his wife and children and to live in the forest and render the every type of the social service to the society. This is known as the Vanprastha. During the last period called the sannyas, Vanprastha not only to live in the forest, but they have to leave their children, his wife, and lead his life to recluse and render every type of the social service to the society. The final is, and the fourth one is sannyas. In this sannyas ashram, man has to live as a hermit in the woods and meditate on God and attain moksha or salvation. So what is in the nutshell? We can say that with this, the 4 ashram system, first 25 years when the human life is more energetic, the guidelines has been given to the man how to learn the craft and the art as per his interest. After that, he must have to enter in that the second phase of the life, which is known as the grihastha ashram, to marry a girl and to have the children. Then the third one is about that the vanaprastha. Actually, these all are the Sanskrit terms. So vanaprastha means that to leave your own individual family life and to work for the social welfare. And finally, go for the meditation, which comes under the sannyas. Then we have to reach over here about this, the 4 varnas. Chaturvarna. This is about that. What is Chaturvarna? The 4 varna system. This is in the later Vedic period, whole society was divided into 4 varnas. And in this varna system, in the chapter 3 also, theme 3 also, it has been given about that, the differentiation of the society, the division of the society on the caste basis, on the occupation basis, actually on the basis of the profession. So Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Sudras, these were the 4 categories. Just like as the 4 Vedas, we have the 4 Varna system also. Brahmins occupied the highest place in the social organization. Philosophers, scholars, scientists, teachers, priests, all those who are engaged in the studies and intellectual pursuits, they were known as the Brahmins. Means the entire learning thing. And in a simple way, we can say that the education is related to the Brahmins. Then the next it comes about Kshatriyas. So who were the Kshatriyas? They were the upholders of the Shatras. Shastras actually. The law. Therefore the rulers, administrators, soldiers and the leaders in war, they belong from this category on the basis of their work performed by them. The third one comes about that this is actually in the context of the Aryans, it has been written. So the bulk of the Aryan who engage themselves in the agriculture, trade, crafts and industry and the cattle breeding were called Vaisyas. Business and trade. In a simple way, we can say that the people who they are engaged in the profession of the trade, business, agriculture, craft production and the cattle rearing, they are considered as the Vaishyas. The lowest class of the society, it is known as the Sudras. And these Sudras, on their physical strength and they are supposed to serve all the 3 higher classes of the society. But they were also taking to agriculture. As a laborer, they were also been taken help in the agricultural productivity. So this comes about that the entire the early Vedic period, the later Vedic period, early Aryans and the later Aryans. This is the beginning, the theme of our Indian history. Right from the Harappan civilization till the later Vedic period, later Aryans. How the concept of the Vedas, Puranas, Upanishads, the importance of Bhagavad Gita, then the six schools of Hindu philosophy, its importance and its the emergence. Then we have the concept of the Puranas. What are the themes? What are the laws? What are the facts written in these Puranas? Then how they have explained about the ashram system in the context of the Indian family. Then finally the Varna system. How this, because without understanding entire this concept, it's very difficult to understand the religion which was completely based on the equality. Casteism was not followed. The Varna system was not followed. How to get salvation? This both Buddhism and Jainism, they are showing the different path. Till now we have discussed to get the salvation, to get the moksha, we have to perform sacrifices with the help of the Brahmins, with the chanting of the mantras given in Rig Vedas. But how these both the religions, they are completely different from this Vedic religion, we are now switching over the main content or the main context of this chapter. So first of all, coming to discuss about the debates and discussion on Kutagar Sala. This is, what is that? This is actually the Pali or Prakrit word. So there were as many as 64 sects or schools of thought. Lively discussions and debates took place between the teachers and these schools of thought. What is about that the life? What is sacrifice? What is a salvation? How to get mokshas from that? The cycle of the rebirth. How to get free from the cycle of rebirth. So these 64 schools are the sects. They have started thinking about that. They have started debating upon that in the school of thought. Kutagar Sala were the places where the debates of teachers who try to convince one another and lay persons about the validity of their philosophy that took place. It is Shala means what? It's a Sanskrit word. Means the living place where one can sit with the roof. But here the Kutagar Sala, it literally means hut. What it is? It is a hut with a pointed roof or in grooves. Means in the forest, in the orchard, where traveling mendicants can halt it. They can take rest. Actually, it's a type of a rest houses. And this has been kept, this Kutagar Sala was actually used by the teachers, where this debate and discussions were taking place about that, the existence of the life after death, or to how to get rid from this, the cycle of rebirth. This is now coming to the main theme of the chapter. Mahavira and Buddha, they were questioned the authority of the Vedas. Now try to understand why we have discussed in detail about Vedas. How the chants and the hymns and the mantras are written in Vedas, in different Vedas with the different importance of Puranas. Now both these the religious teachers, founder of the two different religions, they have started questioning about the authority of the Vedas. They emphasized on individual agency. Means there is no role is been played by the Brahmins. They did not think about that for the chanting, for the worshipping, they need a Brahmin. They have started giving emphasis on the individual. They suggested men and women could strive to attain liberation from the trials and the tribulations of worldly existence. Men or women, anyone, they can attain liberation, means freedom, free from trials and the tribulations of the worldly existence. If I want, I can leave this worldly life and I can go for the meditation to lead a life of a sannyasi. So this differed from the Brahmanical position, as they believed that individual's existence was determined by his or her birth in specific caste or gender. This way, the philosophy of Buddhism and Jainism were completely different from the Brahmins. Brahmanical, the concept. These Brahmins, would they have been given this idea? They believed that the individual's existence was determined by his or her birth in a specific caste or gender. Suppose that a Brahman's child is considered as Brahman. A Kshatriya's child is considered as Kshatriyas, which was completely different from the concept of the Buddhism and Jainism.